You can attract money within seconds if you shift this one thing. Let me show you how. And the other thing that I learned from my journey in particular is that women of color have additional layers, and those layers all have to lead to some sort of long-term success, because we face racism, we face the patriarchy, we live in a constant state of oppression. That's why nobody's healthy. That's why, everybody's sick one way or the other. And we live in a very dehumanizing, humiliating world, because the woman, and especially the feminine, is never respected. Just look at how people treat nature and the exploitation of it. It is very self-explanatory. So when I started rewiring the subconscious, I also did this as like an ode to my lineage. I did this as an ode to my grandparents, and I thought I failed them in life, which I kind of did, but I also didn't. So it was kind of circumstances out of my control, and I wanted to prove that we could remove suffering and build an abundant life. My journey with money mindset is a testament to how you can honestly change a very painfully driven mindset that was always powerless, had a lack of confidence. And money mindset, when you really change it, it shows a testament to your internal power. A lot of the things that the world takes away from women, specifically the patriarchy, is a woman's internal power and her confidence. Two things you need to make money. So once you shift these things, money comes in a very easy, magnetized way. It is not as hard as people make it seem. Yes, there are additional layers to money mindset, because this is all inner work. So my journey started at the end of 2022 to beginning 23, and it started with one particular book. So at the end of 2022, beginning 23, I used this book and I did a lot of dissection of my lineage, my family history. Why did we have so many stressors? I did a lot of inner work and this kind of broad thesis, you can think about it this way, where I was like, why does my family suffer? Why do I suffer? What do I not know that other people know about when it comes to money mindset? And the main reasoning was that I didn't understand that my subconscious mind dictates 95% of my reality. I would say the 5% and 3 to 5% is definitely the external world. And I was not willing to learn certain things. This was the exact time where I was willing to learn, because I had a ton of depression. I had the worst mental health state, but there was something in my life pushing me to go towards spirituality. And it was honestly done by the universe, because I think the universe understood that I was really just done suffering. So energetically, money has a lot of concepts associated with it. We've covered that. Now let's talk about how fear and survival mode is something that you have to work on getting out of. And I'll tell you the ways in the next part as to how do you actually accomplish this. When you take a book like The Power of the Subconscious Mind, it has multiple chapters dedicated towards how to actually rewire your mindset. And you should follow that diligently. You should also track your progress and keep note. You can do this in the notes app on your phone. You can do that in when you journal. Keep note of what changes in your reality, because humans and mindset shifts are very tricky in particular, because it's very painful to shift them, but it's also very rewarding. And humans also need confirmation of the changes in their present reality. Otherwise, we don't trust ourselves. And so to build that trust, you need to start with this in particular. Once you understand that fear and survival mode is one type of mindset and one type of illusion, and you start coming out of that slowly or at whatever pace, you start to see that faith is really the answer. Now, faith can sound very Christian, very biblical, or whatever. If you want to consider it that way, go ahead. I've studied it, so I understand it. But faith is also the fact that the universe has, your best interests. That's one thing. And that if you as an individual have created this intention or created this idea that you are going to accomplish something, it is bound to happen. It's basically trusting that your intentions, your actions, your whole self is basically manifesting it in real time, and there's nothing wavering from that, and the universe is not going to deny that. Now, that also comes from, do you truly trust yourself? Do you see your internal power? This is also Another interesting thing is the more you focus on money mindset, the more attractive you become. So if beauty is your thing and you want to become more pretty and confident, this thing will help you too. Everything is like a pattern. One thing follows the other. And money especially is one of those things where there's a lot of, patterns and associated concepts that are attached to it once you start working on it. So let's start with the basics. What do we currently in the status quo live in? We live in survival mode. We live in a ton of fear. We live in capitalism. We live in patriarchy. So what does that actually do? Our mindset is based off of fear, lack, and scarcity. It is all an illusion. It is not true whatsoever. Scarcity is just basically to say that the individual has absolutely no power. And it is also not true because why else did we come on this planet? It was to learn our own power. As an individual and as a woman in particular, the most important thing that you can learn is money mindset. So the one book that actually changed my entire life, and it's honestly borrowed from Eastern principles, which I learned pretty late, but it's one of the most easiest feasible ways to start learning how to rewire your subconscious. It's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And this book in particular changed my life because it made me realize that the individual has power. I used to have no opportunities coming my way. I used to have absolutely no confidence in myself. And I used to have a lot of external influence, my family and others who were like, you won't be able to earn money. You won't be a billionaire. You won't be XYZ because you're not in computer science. You're not in, any kind of lucrative field. And I was in some lucrative fields, but I had very little interest, and it took me a lot of time to figure out what I was interested in. Now, you may say I talk about fear, faith, and that we should have a money mindset, but what are the exact steps? It sounds a bit vague. Okay, here are the exact steps. You're going to take a book like The Power of the Subconscious Mind. It has many affirmations within it. Take something that's very easy. You can also use ChatGPT to help you. Take something that you personally feel is the most resonant with you. It can be one thing, two things, or three things. I wouldn't go beyond three. I think three is a great place to start. And it's easier to mentally just keep track in memory. So then the next part is that you take three things. Let it be fear, let it be, your ability to attract money, and let it also be trust in yourself. So you can take the first affirmation would be related to fear. So you can be, I am fearless. This is how you're going to start building your blocks to removing fear from your nature. Now let's take another type of set of affirmations that are in your top three. The second one would be to have trust in yourself. So you can be, I am powerful. I am the most powerful woman on the planet. I trust myself. This is also related to the root energy center. This is the foundation of your life. And I'll also say ahead of time, it might be one of the trickiest to work on, but it's very rewarding because you start to calm down internally. Now, it depends on how heavily traumatized you are, how heavily your nervous system is dysregulated. Everything is a process. And the third one could be how to attract money. So in that case, you can say money comes to me very easily, frequently, and stays with me. I magnetize money with ease. This is also a different type of, way of attracting money effortlessly. So here are a few other techniques and applications you can use to start building trust that money's coming. The first thing is that you can close your eyes. Imagine that you are sitting in front of a tree. This is so that it gives you stability. And when you do that, start imagining that you have a bunch of gold coins falling onto you. So I call this the gold coin visualization method. And you imagine a bunch of gold coins coming on top, falling into your lap. You might feel like the area above the belly button and below the chest right there, the intersection of it, aka the solar plexus, also heat up if you're very energetically sensitive or empathic in any way. So that would also tell you that you have money coming your way. Another way is to start using certain switch words. They're basically words that kind of help you build more trust as well. Another way that you can use is switch words. Switch words in particular is very interesting because you do have to keep up with it, but it may show up in your reality a lot faster. than you anticipate. So you can use the word 808. 808 and anything with the word, like the number 8, is very powerful. 808 makes sure that you can start physically anchoring in money. So if you repeat this and you repeat this when you're half asleep, you will see changes very fast. Like, it is extremely powerful. Switch words have a lot of power in them. It could also be a little bit temporary in some cases, but it depends on how you keep up. Like, you just have to be very diligent, have a lot of grit and consistency. That is the name of the game for any of these techniques. And I personally use them, so I can tell you that. One other technique that you can also use is the technique of doing mirror work. If many things are not working out for you, if you find it very hard to maintain mental discipline, mirror work is one of the most direct and inward processing techniques that you can use. You basically stand in front of the mirror and you use any of these affirmations. I find one of the best ones to be, I magnetize money with ease. You do that in the mirror for like 5 to 10 minutes twice a day. You will start seeing very different shifts. You'll feel very differently, like almost immediately. You will feel like there is actual progress, and it's one of the more like you can see it in real time techniques, whereas the other ones like switch words and generic affirmations when you go to sleep and wake up, that's something that happens over a process over time. So this was one of the most in real time processes you can see if you wish to use it. I use it all the time. And if you're going to work on any of these, what's the best method? Do it when you're in the theta wave healing state. This is something that Joseph Murphy talks about. This is what Eastern cultures have been talking about. It's basically when you're in this like very sleepy state. You're not really totally awake and you're not totally asleep. And this is where a lot of healing happens, a lot of rewiring happens in your subconscious mind. And it's also in the back of the head here if you want to look at it from the neuroscience perspective. So that helps it like feasibly be, done in a way where you're not like using your conscious mind to constantly think. You can do this throughout the day, but I have a few more techniques that can help you visualize money coming instead of just repeating affirmations, because I know that a lot of people can repeat affirmations but they may not fully trust it. So here are some other techniques that have helped me trust a lot more than just saying words. And lastly, what are some additional notes when you start this work? First, if you see any roadblocks, if you see any obstacles, if you see anybody challenging you, your circumstances challenging you, understand that those roadblocks and obstacles are the way. It means you are on the right track. If you have to remove them, that's just your subconscious trying to work through things. You just see them and it shows up in your reality. Be a little bit detached. Don't get fully involved. Just keep going with the work and consistency that you are using. Another thing that you have to pay attention to is that you can use switch words the most when you are also in the theta wave healing state. So when you are falling asleep and waking up, this state in particular will help achieve a lot of what you're trying to actively do. It's just the easiest, and it will basically just also tap into the subconscious. Switch words are a more direct, accessible way of doing so. Additional notes and final notes is that if you keep track of what's popping up in your reality, it would be very easy for you to trust yourself as to like you can accomplish this, and it requires a lot of consistency and discipline, just like anything else. I would also say take a bet of seeing your reality change within 2 weeks to 90 days. 90 days is when you would see a lot of your efforts pay off, because the subconscious starts formalizing and gets a lot more solidified in 90 days. And it's just a matter of, can you actually have the discipline to keep going? Because 90 days is also a lot, but do you really want to harness your power? This is something that, would be a testament that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to.